Hello, this is Moses Woodson from MP Designs. We're here with Blaze again today, and what we're going to be talking about is trimming a young horse's feet. Now, when we got Blaze, his feet had not been trimmed. He's between 10 months and a year old. His feet had not been trimmed probably ever, and we've trimmed him twice now, and his feet is a little bit what I call paddle footed. His front feet are turned out. In the back you might call it cow-hocked. He's turned out a little bit, and we're trying to bring some balance. On the last video, on the update on Blaze, we had I told you we like to take and trim them about every 3 weeks, and one of the things that's good about having some experience in farrier and trimming horses' feet is when you have your own horses, you can do it as you need to. And today, this Saturday afternoon, we're going to come out here and we're just going to make some small adjustments to his foot. So I'm going to grab my tools here real quick and be right back with you. So this is my little horse hoof trimming kit here, little farrier kit. The things that we're going to be using today, first of all, we're going to be using a hoof knife. These are fairly inexpensive. Every horse owner should have some of these tools around just in case. And if you own horses and you're not well educated in trimming feet or how a horse's foot works, the best thing you can do is hang out with a farrier. Watch as much stuff as you can on YouTube, read books, and what I tell people is, take everything with a grain of salt. Find out what works for you and your horses, and then go from there. I trim and shoe the horse. I don't trim and shoe the foot. I look at how the horse moves, how the horse is built, the angle of their shoulder, and that's what I go by. We try to balance a horse out. We're going to be using a hoof knife. We're going to be using a pair of hoof nippers. These are fairly wide. You can get these. They're fairly inexpensive. I think I paid $40 for these. And then a hoof rasp for smoothing up and rounding off things. So I'm going to move these out of the way here, or dump them. And I'll pick this horse's foot up. Now first, pick it up right here. We're going to look at this horse. This is a young horse, and he hadn't been trimmed, like I said, but about twice. So we're going to look at this horse's foot here, if he'll let us. Maybe he'll just calm down here and let us. When you're looking at a horse's foot, you want it to be balanced. You want as much material on one side as you do on the other. And as you can see, this horse is smaller on this side. Gonna bite me. Nope. He's a young horse. Tell you what, I help a whole lot. Let me get a Sharpie. Okay, so he don't bite me again here. We're just going to draw a line down the middle of this hoof. And I know it's not a very good line, but it's a better aid. Down the middle of this hoof, you can see, and again, he's a young horse. He's going to want to move around here. Might want to bite me. But you can see how his foot is growed out here and turned. So we're going to try and balance that out, and we'll look at that line again after we have trimmed this foot. We're not going to take a great lot. Maybe he'll eat some grass here and be okay with it. Oh, he wants to try and bite me here. Maybe he'll eat. These young horses, they want to take and bite and pull away, and that's okay. I'd rather them move around than be tied and fight. So a lot of times I'll take this rope and I'll tuck it under my belt where I can still grab a hold of it, but if they get to pulling back, it pulls out. So I'm not going to take a whole lot off here. As you can see, his heels are really collapsed. He's really undershot. And what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of cleaning up the bottom of the hoof. As you can tell in here, don't bite me, we've got a whole lot of thin growth here and some more straight up and down growth there. So we're going to have to balance this foot out. And what I'm trying to do is stand his heel up more. His feet had never been trimmed. Trying to get his heel to stand up a little bit more and support him, and take his toe off. And the best way to get a heel to stand up is to take toe off. So all I didn't take out very much sole, just kind of cleaned it up there a little bit. And what I'm going to do, if you can see, this heel here is growed by the way he travels. In what little bit of time he's wearing this side off more. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to walk around with this nipper and take, doing this one-handed, so not as nice as I'd like. So we got the foot back down. He wants to bite me every minute. May have to get somebody out here to handle him. And what I'm going to do, no more than that is, I'm just going to take a rasp that and rasp that down. Okay, so now I'm going to rasp this foot. I'm going heel, 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 toe, heel, toe. And as I look down my foot, I can tell his toe's just a little bit high. I'll hit that toe there a little bit. And it's plain to see that this foot's a little bit out of shape. That's quite all right. Now you can kind of see really how about out of shape it is, how round it is here, and how straight up it is here. So we're just going to take and try to round this out and make it look a little better. So we'll come around the front. Just don't let him bite me there, son. We're just going to round this foot up with this rasp. This is the third time his feet's ever been touched. I mean, when he first got here, he had 2 or 3 inches of foot. I think he's doing pretty good, even though he wants to bite me. Better go get somebody to hold him. Little stud horse. He wants to pull and wants to fight a little bit, and that's pretty common. So now, as you can see, we still got a long way to go, but it's not near out of his balance as it was before. And it's getting closer. This foot is going to have to come out, and this foot here is going to have to stand up a little bit, this side of the foot. So we want to leave as much over here as we can, take off as much as we can here, and keep cutting the bars out on his feet. I'll show you some more of that here in a minute to get a heel to spread. But for the third time in about 9 weeks, his foot's been trimmed, and it was a whole lot worse than this to begin with. So we're getting closer. So over time, hopefully we get to see this foot become more balanced, have the same amount of hoof on each side, and be more circular. So if you have a heel that is collapsing, and his feet were collapsed real bad, his heels were, that's nature's way, that's God's way of getting the horse's frog back in contact with the earth, getting more of the hoof on the ground. Is they grow out, and then these bars, and some people would dispute this, and that's okay. Try to show you these bars here. This bar grows in and pulls the heel in, and it's nature's way of getting that foot back in contact with the ground. So all I'm doing here, I'm not putting a lot of pressure on. I'm not wanting to cut a lot of sole out. The more sole a horse has, particularly a barefoot type horse, the more material you have between the outside of the horse and the inside of the horse. More hoof, more horse. So I can ride this horse a lot farther, or take this horse a lot farther down the road if it's got more hoof. So that's my philosophy. So we're just going to take this off. We're not going to take much heel. Going to take more toe than heel. Just trying to get him stood up a little bit. Get his foot back a little bit more healthy. Just take those bars out. Just cut them on out of there. That allows that heel to expand instead of draw in. It allows it to come out when the pressure hits the heel, pushes the hoof out instead of growing in and getting a collapsed heel. All that good fresh grass. You have a heel that will spread a little bit. So here we have his back foot, which we cleaned out, cut the bars out of, and as you can see, got a whole lot. He wants to dance around here a little bit. Got a whole lot of toe out here. The more you leave that toe out there, you can see the outer hoof wall. He wants to dance around a little bit, getting impatient. You've got a thinner outer hoof wall here, more outer hoof wall here on the toe. That's going to continue to pull this toe out. So what I want to do is I just want to take some of that outer hoof wall off, trying to get it more balanced, and I can finish that up with a rasp. So now it's a little bit more uniform. So now we're just going to flatten out heel, 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 toe, heel, toe. He's getting impatient. Sometimes it's better to let these colts have a minute, move them around a little bit, then bring it back to it. Oh, gonna get me rasp burnt here. Oh, he's getting impatient. We're just gonna let him fight it out here. Oh, he wants to fight. We'll just hold on. So, a little bit more balanced. That's what we're looking for. His toes were so long on the rear that it really caused a lot of weakness in his pasterns and in his stifles. He just really was weak, and just going to round it up a little bit so it grows in and not out on that toe. Don't want that toe to come up. Want that toe to roll over, be shorter. So as you can see, shooting a camera and trimming a young horse's feet is not always ideal. A lot of jumping around, a lot of the horse pulling. But our main goal is to get these feet as balanced as we can and stood up as much as we can. I would like to get the angle of his coffin bone a little better. Lead him forward here. Get him a little bit more balanced and get him stood up. This is a really good shot right here. You can see how far down he is on his pastern standing there. So his heel needs to be stood up. He's got an over-exaggerated coffin bone there. His pastern's really down, so he's kind of up over his feet. And what I'd like to see him is stood up a little bit more, be up and under himself a little bit better. And he danced around on us. Had to work him a few times. Sometimes you can take a young horse, and if he's fidgety, take him out and work him a little bit. This guy here, he's got some walking horse blood in him, so he tends to get a little bit more excited. But we worked him a little bit, come back and worked on his back feet. Kind of got me sweating out here in the sun, huffing and puffing. But plus that, I'm out of shape. But what I want to show you is how he's standing here. His feet's turned out, and you can see where he turns out at is through his knee. So he's always going to have an issue with being a little bit paddle-footed. So I've got to take and just kind of maintain that. I can't correct that altogether, but I can help him out. I can, over time, I can straighten him out. And a horse grows out, down, and in motion. The way the horse travels causes the hoof to grow the way it does. So if he gets more wear on one side, of course, that side's going to be a little bit thinner, and the other side's going to fan out a little bit more. It's our job as horse owners and farriers and horse caretakers to see those issues and to maintain them. Am I ever going to straighten his feet up to where he's not paddle-footed or penguin-footed? Probably not. But I can definitely help him every time I trim him, so that it doesn't become an issue with him and he becomes club-footed or concave-footed. Because what will happen if I leave him to his own devices is this foot will continue to fan out and this foot will roll over, because he's not breaking over heel toe. He's breaking over here. And we'll lead him around and get some footage of how he walks. And his back's, he's a little bit cow-hocked, and it's the same way. So I'm going to walk him around. We're going to get some footage of that, and you can kind of see how he's tracking. So it's a constant battle of just maintaining and keeping him as sound as he can be. Some of this could be from where he didn't get trimmed as a young colt. Some of it could be his breeding. But the best thing we can do is just keep maintaining him and keep a constant eye on it and get him stood up. He's got a lot of growing to do, so a lot of things can change. And we're looking forward to seeing some of those changes. So you can see how he's breaking over to the inside and his feet's kind of going out. And that's continually wearing this side of his foot down because he's breaking over like that. So, and the same thing goes for his back feet. We just have to maintain that. Are we ever going to straighten it out? Probably not. If he's let go and not dealt with and not maintained, it'll get worse. And eventually, it can really do a lot of damage to his joints and to his upper structure, his upper support skeleton. It can do a lot of damage there. But our job is, for the next year of his life, is about every 3 to 4 weeks, just trimming him up, straightening him up as much as we can, and balancing him out. Wasn't ideal footage with him dancing around and flies and things, but it's real life. It's what happens when you're dealing with young horses. He'll get better and he'll get a little bit more patient, and things will go a little bit easier and a little bit smoother. So I hope this helps you out in looking at a horse's foot and trying to determine, you know, what needs to be done to a horse's foot. And we'll see you guys down the road. This is Moses Woodson from MP Designs. Remember to subscribe and like.